Nobody was inside when this fire overtook the building. Fire crews, though, they did realize early on that this was not going to be an easy chance. They were not going to be able to save the building. Their main efforts were to try to save surrounding buildings. After 3 hours of bombarding the flames with their water hoses, firefighters did manage to get it under control. The big fires are now out. However, the firefighters, they're still here on the scene mopping up and making sure the hot spots don't flare back up again. 3 firefighters have been injured so far, and 2 of them were hurt pretty badly while trying to wrangle with one of their large high-pressure water hoses. I'm told it kind of slipped loose and nearly broke one firefighter's arm and almost broke some ribs on another firefighter. A 3rd firefighter suffered exhaustion just from the intensity of this battle. All of them, thankfully, are expected to be okay as they were taken to a hospital. Just another example of how dangerous their jobs can be.
Firefighters have been doing an outstanding job, giving it their all to ensure that the fire does not spread to adjacent buildings. And subsequently, we have 3 firefighters that have suffered injury and are being evaluated by firefighter paramedics. However, at this point, we're glad to say that they're in stable condition.
So while this building where the fire broke out and is pretty much unsalvageable, you see the buildings just adjacent to it. The lights are still on. Everything is likely saved over there. You can see, and if it just goes to show the amazing effort firefighters put in, because this whole block could have gone up in flames had firefighters not jumped on it as quick as they did. Fire investigators are now looking at the cause of this fire. They have an arson team coming out here to go inside. No word on what might have sparked it. Live in downtown LA, I'm Steve Koosh, KTLA 5 News.
All right, Steve, thank you. Federal agents have served search warrants on the owners of the dive boat that caught fire and killed 34 people last week. Agents with the FBI and ATF served the warrants yesterday in Santa Barbara at the headquarters of Truth Aquatics and the 2 other dive boats owned by the company. Now, it's part of their investigation into the deadly fire on dive boat named Conception. Coast Guard records show Conception passed its 2 most recent inspections with no safety violations. Investigators are now focused on finding the cause of the flames, plus they're looking into how batteries and electronics were stored and charged and what the crew was doing at the time the fire started.
We are learning that top officials in the Trump administration, including Vice President Pence, were opposed to a secret meeting of the Taliban on U.S. soil.
That meeting was canceled by President Trump. The fact that it was supposed to be held during the week of 9/11 ceremonies is creating controversy and even a bit of outrage. KTLA 5's Eric Spillman live in our newsroom with those details. Eric, good morning.
Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Megan. Important bit of background here. The Taliban is the extremist Islamic group that once harbored Osama bin Laden and al-Qaeda, who were responsible for the 9/11 attacks. Now the president is facing a backlash for inviting the leaders of that organization to the United States, especially with the 18th anniversary of 9/11 just days away. On Saturday, the president announced on Twitter that he was canceling what was supposed to be a secret meeting. He had asked the leaders of the Taliban to come to Washington, D.C. The Taliban controls about half of Afghanistan these days. The president wanted to hold a summit with the group at the Camp David presidential retreat. The Trump administration has been negotiating with the Taliban for about a year. The 2 sides had been discussing a deal for the U.S. to remove 5,000 troops from Afghanistan, and in exchange, the Taliban would promise to reduce violence there and prevent it from becoming a haven for terrorists. But last week, the Taliban claimed responsibility for a car bomb in Kabul that killed 12 people, including a U.S. soldier. The president decided that the meeting and the deal were off. His Secretary of State is defending his decision.
When the Taliban tried to gain negotiating advantage by conducting terror attacks inside of the country, President Trump made the right decision to say that's not going to work. We're going to walk away from a deal if others try to use violence to achieve better ends in a negotiation. It's not right. It's not appropriate. It killed an American, and it made no sense for the Taliban to be rewarded for that kind of bad behavior.
Republican leaders like Congresswoman Liz Cheney are criticizing the president for where he planned to hold the meeting. Cheney tweeted, "Camp David is where America's leaders met to plan our response after al-Qaeda, supported by the Taliban, killed 3,000 Americans on 9/11. No member of the Taliban should set foot there, ever."
It fits with much of what you've seen from this president, which is that he seems to be tone deaf on the way in which messages are received. And this one, it's not a subtlety, it's a big tone blow up wherein they don't take into account 9/11? Are you kidding me?
All right, here's an old tweet from Donald Trump from back in 2012. Back then, he criticized then-President Obama for negotiating with the Taliban. Trump wrote, "While Barack Obama is slashing the military, he's also negotiating with our sworn enemy, the Taliban, who facilitated 9/11." That's a tweet from 2012. Several media outlets are reporting that Vice President Mike Pence and National Security Advisor John Bolton opposed the plan to meet with the Taliban at Camp David, but were overruled by the president. Chris, Megan?
All right, Eric, thank you. Customs and Border Patrol is defending a policy that caused dozens of displaced residents of the Bahamas to leave a humanitarian ship bound for Miami. Officials say the victims of Hurricane Dorian did not have the proper documents and would be turned away. Many left the ship before it sailed for America. Meanwhile, the death toll in the Bahamas increased over the weekend to 44. 70,000 remain homeless. Hundreds are still missing. The government expects that number to increase. Rescue teams have been digging through debris fields, searching for more survivors. Many of the islands in the Bahamas were devastated by Dorian's winds and flooding when it was a Cat 5 hurricane. Now, the government there says 1,200 square miles are covered with debris.
Victims of Hurricane Dorian in the Bahamas are in desperate need of life-saving help. Our partners at UNICEF are on the ground there right now, providing relief to the countless families and children affected. Water, shelter, food, and medicine are the most urgent needs right now. If you'd like to help the survivors, you can visit unicefusa.org/Dorian to make a donation. Even the smallest donation can make a world of difference because humanitarian organizations like UNICEF can make that money go so far.
Traffic by the all-new Ram 1500.
A couple things that we want to make sure you know about this morning. Things are really starting to fill in for the drive, but CHP making great work of it. Mark Kono is in Sky 5 HD looking at the drive that hopefully this will clear soon. Mark.
We're hoping in the next couple of minutes, Ginger. Here we go, coming through Long Beach, the northbound side of the 405 freeway, just past the 710 before Alameda here. That big rig that you see there, that flatbed, and that... They should be able to drive that big rig off, and they're hooking up the car right now. So there you go, the northbound side of the 405 freeway. The slowing, unfortunately, starts right at about Lakewood Boulevard here, so just before the Signal Hill area. Northbound 405 in Long Beach. Ginger?
Yeah, and of course it could be a big deal being that it's not so far from, say, Long Beach Airport. Mondays are always busy days at the airports. Thank you for a look at that, Mark. Let's move you over to look at the 57. So the southbound side, right about Yorba Linda Boulevard, that can be a busy spot. They're talking about this tie with at least 3 cars. A couple cleared themselves, but maybe 1, maybe 2 still sitting in those middle lanes, and it is already a tight squeeze. If you have plans to be on the Garden Grove Freeway heading in towards, say, the city of Orange, 22 eastbound side, right about City Drive, they're not specific about what lanes are blocked, just that there is something here, and already a minor slowdown that is starting to form. I'll say this much, in a spot that tends to get busy going east, so we'll watch to see what develops. But man, that westbound commute, that looks real nice. In fact, even the drive for the Costa Mesa Freeway at 55 as you leave Villa Park heading through Orange all the way in towards Newport, that's also a pretty good and chill ride on this Monday morning. We'll watch all this for everyone, of course, and to check our weather, which heat up will come. We'll send it over to you, Liberty.
It will. We'll cool it down today through about Wednesday, and then that warm up, it's going to return by the tail end of the work week. Live look outside off our Long Beach cam. This camera sits right on top of the Queen Mary and gives us that great shot. The sun just coming up over Southern California. It is going to be a nice day, rather mild in relatively speaking, compared to last week when we had the heat and the humidity. Not the case today. It's going to be cooler than yesterday. 67 degrees right now in downtown Los Angeles. That's 2 degrees warmer than it was at this time yesterday. Almanac shows us this, 81 degrees yesterday. Our average is 84, so we were below the average yesterday. We'll stay below the average today. We'll get a little bit gusty in our mountains, in our desert communities, also along the I-5 corridor. If you are traveling there this afternoon, just keep in mind you will run into some pretty gusty winds. Also going to see gusty winds in Santa Barbara County, so just keep that in mind if you're planning to take the 101, maybe the 154. If you're driving behind the wheel of any of those high-profile vehicles, those winds could knock your car or truck back and forth. 79 degrees today, 81 degrees tomorrow. Then we warm it up by Thursday and Friday. For the coast, here's what you can expect temperature-wise. 77 degrees today, 76 degrees on your Tuesday and your Wednesday. Starting off the day with some low clouds and fog. That marine layer is back because of that onshore flow. It's going to clear out and give way to plenty of sunshine, though, this afternoon. Temperatures in the mountain communities, 71 degrees today, 30s in those overnight hours, then 60s back in the forecast Tuesday, Wednesday, and 70s return Thursday, Friday. High desert communities topping out in the upper 80s today, low 80s on Tuesday, 90s back in the forecast Thursday, Friday, triple-digit heat on Saturday. Meg, Chris, back to you.
All right, thank you so much for that. Liberty 613 is the time. Still ahead of warning if you're headed to LAX.
Yeah, big construction project is now underway. How long it's going to last and how the project could impact where you drop off or pick up people there at the airport.
And Disney strikes a big deal with the UK film studio, the agreement, and what it means for the movie industry. Coming up.
Sometimes I feel a little mad, but don't you know that no one like it?
LAX undergoing a multi-billion-dollar facelift.
Passengers can expect major changes for the next 2 months. Tonight's closures impact passengers who rely on ride-sharing services. Megan Tellis live from LAX with those details. Megan, good morning.
That's right. Good morning, Megan, Chris. We'll get to those ride-share closures in just a moment, but first I kind of just want to set the scene here. All of this construction has been underway for months. It's all because of a $5.5 billion modernization program. It's a project. It's underway. Just talked to a woman here as we get into video now who says, I've been working here for 25 years. There's always been construction, but the added construction happening right now for the people mover, for the consolidated rent-a-car facility, for additional parking and roadway improvements, again, $5.5 billion is getting really intense. So come packed with patience, right? Let's talk about what's happening this month and how it affects all of you. Terminals 1 and 2, if you take a look at your screen, you can kind of follow along with what I'm saying. The rightmost drop-off lane on the upper departures level is closed to vehicles until March of 2020, while it's used for this covered pedestrian walkway. For about 10 days starting later this month, all of the inner lanes on the lower arrivals level will be closed overnight, with one lane reopened during the day, so heads up. Next slide here, Terminals 2 and 3 starting today through the 13th, which is this Friday. A section of the inner lanes on the lower arrivals level is scheduled to be closed while work takes place. This is all to widen the center island curb. You are encouraged, consider parking in a structure when picking up passengers from LAX. The Tom Bradley International Terminal, the rightmost pickup lane on that lower arrivals level, closed between columns B2 and B5. This is on the north side for use as a pedestrian walkway. You're encouraged to consider parking or picking up your passengers south of the closure. Now, over the weekend, passenger drop-off lanes in front of Terminals 5 and 6 were closed. Look for drop-off areas that remain open east and west of the construction site. If you ride share, please listen up. Starting tonight, for the next 2 nights, if you ride Uber, Lyft, any other ride-sharing service, pickup stops will be closed for the next 2 nights once again. And all those closures should be back open later on in November at Fly LAX Stats. That is a handle on Twitter. Please follow it. You're going to get real-time updates at Fly LAX Stats. You can see it at the bottom of your screen now as to what's going on here at Los Angeles International Airport. Rest assured, LAX police are saying we're not going to be issuing any kind of tickets anytime soon because we know it's very confusing. Come with patience, look at the signs, come with lots of time on your side. That's the very latest at LAX. I'm currently in Terminal 7. Not too much happening behind us, thank goodness. I'll send it back to you in Hollywood.
I will pick it up from here. Good morning, everyone. I'm Liberty Chan in for Henry DiCarlo. As you take a look outside, we are seeing a little bit of cloud cover out there. That marine layer, it's back because of that onshore flow. We have a trough of low pressure cooling us off here in Southern California. Temperatures right now, lots of 50s and 60s. 60 degrees in Camarillo, 57 degrees in Corona, 55 Point Mugu, and 64 degrees in Avalon. All right, future forecast shows us this. We do have that low pressure system moving across the west coast over the next few days. Then high pressure returns on Thursday, and that high pressure system is going to shift the winds. It's going to bring us warmer conditions. 81 degrees today, 79 degrees on Tuesday. So Tuesday, the coolest day of the next 7. Then we begin to warm things up as high pressure builds back in on Thursday, 85, 90 degrees by Friday, 87. For the Inland Empire today, we should be sitting at 92. 92 is our average for this time of year. going to stay below the average through about Wednesday, then trending above the average beginning on Thursday as that high pressure system builds in. 100 degrees expected on Friday, so if you like it cool, enjoy it for the next few days. Orange County inland, 80 degrees today, 79 degrees tomorrow, and then warmer by the tail end of the work week, 86 on in and around San Fernando Valley, 80 degrees on Tuesday. Triple digit heat back in the forecast beginning on Friday. Ginger.
Traffic by the all-new Ram 1500.
Just in time for the weekend, right? A lot of stuff for us to get to. So let's take you back over to look where Mark Kono is in Sky 5 HG. Now that we have some light over this fire that was raging for the last couple of hours, get a better idea of what's closed and what's happening, Mark.
Yeah, unfortunately for the building and the building owners here, the property owners, just a total loss for this building here. Steve Coos is on the ground, and he'll have all the nuts and bolts coming up. We just wanted to show you the aerial perspective of what it looks like here in downtown. This is going to be 7th Street. We're just west of Mateo, where the fire is essentially knocked down, but fire crews are still on scene. Traffic related, Ginger, because 7th Street is going to be shut down for several blocks between Mateo over on this side, and over on the west side, the closure begins at Alameda here. So a couple of blocks of 7th Street between Mateo and Alameda for this ongoing situation. Ginger?
Yeah, it happened, what, about maybe 2 o'clock in the morning. Some people waking up, heading to downtown for work, may not be aware of what's closed here. So we do appreciate your update, and we'll look forward to all the details from our Steve Cooge. Let's move you over to look at that 405 freeway, northbound side at Alameda. And we saw the tow trucks all here. Everything is still the way it is here. So they haven't completely cleared it yet, but I think they may have to stop lanes in order to do that. We'll take you over to look at the 10 freeway westbound side. So right at about Grand Avenue, they're saying the crash with 3 cars sitting in the left lanes. And so far, that stretch of the roadway can get real busy. So we know it meets in 2 spots. We're talking about this one in particular as you come off that Kellogg Hill, and then you really ride those brakes as you move farther to the west and into the Covinas. So much happening. We'll keep tracking that drive in downtown LA, as well as, of course, everything at LAX. Make sure you stay with us. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
All right, Mark Kono, over breaking news of fire. Mark, where are you right now?
Yeah, that's right. We are just south of the 10 freeway here, Chris. Good morning to you. This is going to be the 1700 block of West 24th Street, just west of Normandy here. It's just about a block and a half south of the 10 freeway here. This fire has been dispatched, and the fire department is just now arriving on scene, making their initial assessments. It looks like that this is going to be kind of in that space between homes here at the back near a garage, and it doesn't, well, we do have some open flame there, but I don't know what is burning on the south side, the property to the south side here. But fire department, again, making entrance right there, and they will be getting some water here. Don't know exactly what's burning, but it has certainly spread to a tree from what we can see there. That looks like it's a pretty good burning fire there. In the meantime, though, if we open up the shot just a little bit here, you can see where the fire is still smoldering on the property to the south. Now, we don't know what material is actually burning here, but have a look at that. This is something that we are going to be watching for the next couple of minutes here. Again, the LA City Fire Department is on scene, the 1700 block of West 24th, just west of Normandy. Guys, let me send it back down to you.
All right. Thank you so much for the latest on this, Mark Kono. We're going to continue to monitor that fire. We will bring you the latest information as we get it. 6:26 is the time. Still ahead, one school takes extreme measures to keep students from vaping.
Plus, Jennifer Gould is live. Jennifer.
Good morning. I'm live in San Bernardino. One person killed, 2 others injured in this San Bernardino neighborhood when a suspect or suspects opened fire. We'll have details on this ongoing investigation coming up live.
Also, Kevin Hart up and walking again nearly a week after his violent car crash. The latest on his long road to recovery coming up.
Active flames and smoke. You saw it here live. Mark Kono is in Sky 5 HG. The fire department is on scene, but we still see some of those active flames here on 24th at Normandy. Mark.
Yeah, have a look at this, Ginger. Fire department is on scene. They are still working with some active flame here. This is a detached garage at the rear of a residence on the 1700 block of West 24th Street here. So this is very visible, as we will show you in just a few moments here. First, we want to kind of show you the layout here. This is going to be in a residential area here just west of Normandy, south of the 10 freeway here. They are actually getting a pretty good handle on this detached garage fire here. Don't know what was burning inside of it, but at any rate, they are making good progress here. Fire department is here. They're going to be staging along 23rd, 24th, over on Congress Avenue to the west and Normandy Avenue to the right, and we'll widen out the shot and just kind of show you the proximity to the 10 freeway east and westbound. The car's going away from left to right. That's going to be the eastbound side heading in towards downtown. You can see that this smoke is going to be a little bit of a visual distraction for some of the folks along the 10 freeway. Ginger?
Hopefully they'll get it out and there won't be any injuries. We certainly appreciate your update there, Mark. Let's move you over to look at the 10 freeway. This is a different stretch of the 10. We're talking about also a spot that sounds familiar, Grand Avenue. So we know it meets in two areas, but this one in particular, as you come off the Kellogg Hill and you're moving in towards the Covina's 10 westbound side of Grand Avenue, the type with 3 cars now sitting in the left lane. 71 south looks real heavy. I think there was something earlier in lanes with a car facing the wrong way. I'll have to double check it. To me, that looks like it's filled in a little bit too early for the commute, but usually that is a busy spot, right? We'll keep tracking all this stuff for everybody, and one thing we know, cool down today, set Liberty, but then it heats up again later on.
That's right. Good morning, everyone. We do have some cloud cover out there. Onshore flow is back. Today's forecast, it looks like this. Temperatures right now in the 60s by the afternoon hours, 70s along the coast, 80s in those inland valleys. So you'll notice that we're much cooler today than where we have been. Will the cool down continue? I'll have details coming up, but for now, back to you.
Breaking news out of San Bernardino. Police searching for suspects involved in a shooting that left 1 man dead.
Yeah, 2 other people were shot and rushed to the hospital in critical condition. KTLA 5's Jennifer Gould live right now from San Bernardino with more details. Jennifer, good morning.
Good morning. The investigation does continue. You look over my shoulder, you'll see several detectives here with the San Bernardino Police Department. And at one point, we counted more than 20 different evidence markers for gun shells, which shows exactly how many shots were fired in this neighborhood that left 1 person dead, 2 others injured. One of those victims was found about a block away from here. Now, this all happened around 8:47 Sunday evening. Authorities say San Bernardino police receiving a call about the shooting. When they arrived, though, about a block from here, that was at the Family Dollar store. They found 1 male victim suffering from a gunshot wound to the back. That's over on West Baseline. But the shooting may have actually happened here where I am at L Street and 11th, where a second male victim was found also suffering from gunshot wounds, as well as a third male who is deceased here on the scene on the sidewalk. Now, the 3 may have been standing outside here on L Street somewhere when the suspect or suspects approached the 3 men and opened fire. 2 did try to run. More than, again, 24 shell casings were found here on the street. San Bernardino Police Station says that at least 2 victims transported to the hospital. Last we heard said to be in critical condition, but unfortunately no ID at this point on the victim who was killed. That will be up the coroner to decide once they notify next of kin. No word on any suspect or suspects information, exactly how many they're looking for, no description whether they took off in a car or on foot, no motive, and exactly no words how many of the people were armed. Was this a shootout between the suspect and the victims? We don't know, as you again look at the live ongoing investigation here behind me. In the meantime, if you have any information on exactly what happened here on L Street and also on West Baseline, you are strongly urged to call the San Bernardino Police Department. Sending it back to you.
Thank you, Jennifer. 3 teenagers are in the hospital after a drive-by shooting in Hacienda Heights. It happened about 9:30 Saturday night in the 16,000 block of Garro Avenue. As of last night, a 15-year-old boy remained in critical but stable condition after being hit in the torso. A 16-year-old boy and 17-year-old girl are being treated for their wounds. Deputies are now searching for 4 suspects in a gray sedan. There was a deadly shooting also in Hacienda Heights early this morning. We're going to have more on that coming up in a live report next hour.
A male mountain lion known as P61 was hit and killed while crossing the 405 freeway in West LA over the weekend. Police noticed a monitoring collar at the scene of a car accident Saturday morning in the Sepulveda Pass. Police alerted wildlife officials. Officials think another mountain lion may have crossed the freeway, which may have encouraged P61 to do the same thing. Researchers say P61 had been staying close to the eastern edge of the 405 over recent months.
Actor-comedian Kevin Hart is said to be walking again after a serious spine injury suffered in a car crash. He was riding in his 70s Plymouth Barracuda in Calabasas a week ago when his friend allegedly lost control of the vehicle and veered through a fence and down an embankment. Hart had to have surgery to repair multiple fractures to his spine. Although he's reportedly back on his feet and on a road to recovery, he's said to still be in a lot of pain.
Federal health officials say the number of respiratory illnesses possibly connected to vaping has more than doubled to 450. People are sick in 33 separate states. Meanwhile, a school in Alabama has taken the drastic step of removing the stall doors in some of the boys' bathrooms to keep students from vaping. The principal at Wilson High School says every day students sneak off to a bathroom to vape. He says 2 weeks ago a student was passed out in a stall. Some parents are taking issue with the school's actions.
Me as a parent personally, I think that's a little excessive.
I don't like it. They take their only private place in the school that they can do their business.
Parents say a better solution would be to have an adult in the hallway or bathroom to make sure no one is vaping. The principal says the door removals could be temporary as he figures out other solutions.
If you plan on flying British Airways today, your flight could be canceled. Pilots are on strike for 48 hours over pay. Mainly affects the hub at Heathrow, but will also hit global operations as well. Airline is advising passengers to check on the status of your flight before heading to the airport. Pilots Union is calling on the airline to share more of its profits with pilots. British Airways says the pay increase it has offered in the past is fair. Airline says it was forced to cancel nearly all of its flights because it had no way of knowing which pilots may or may not show up for work.
A major strike involving workers from grocery stores across Southern California appears to have been averted. Workers reached a tentative agreement with the owners of Ralph's and Albertsons. The union confirmed the proposed deal yesterday. Terms of the tentative contract will not be released until that contract is finalized. Members are expected to start voting on it today. Results should be finalized Thursday. 47,000 employees who work at 532 stores had authorized union leaders to call a strike if a contract could not be reached.
Investigators are working to determine what caused a 250-acre brush fire in Riverside. The fire erupted in Sycamore Canyon Saturday afternoon. Strong winds ripped through the fire. It grew to 250 acres in just 2 hours. Fire burned an area next to a canyon that was scorched by wildfires in July. Officials declared 100% containment last night, but say they will remain watchful for flare-ups. Riverside Fire Department says there was a mild threat to nearby homes, but did not order evacuations. There have been no reports of injuries to residents or firefighters or structure damage.
Fire crews in Riverside are mopping up hot spots this morning in the Tanaha fire area. The fire has been burning since Wednesday in the Murrieta and La Cresta areas. Fire officials say the flames scorched nearly 2,000 acres, and currently the fire is 73% contained. 3 firefighters have been hurt, but they are going to recover. At one point, 2,000 homes were threatened, forcing officials to issue mandatory evacuations. Those evacuations have since been lifted. They expect to fully contain the fire by Friday.
2020 Tournament of Roses is already searching for its next Royal Court and Rose Queen. Applicants gathered Saturday at the Tournament House in Pasadena. They're all, of course, hoping to make the cut. The Royal Court selection process starts with officials conducting interviews. They look for participants' community involvement, public speaking abilities, and academic achievements. If chosen, the 2020 Royal Court will attend nearly 100 community functions throughout the Pasadena and greater LA area.
Watching the Rose Parade, whether it be on TV or in person, it really inspired me, because me being someone who goes to public school, who's a person of color, these type of things, these are all things that qualify me because everyone qualifies here.
Next interview takes place today. 2020 Royal Court will be announced on September 30th. The 102nd Rose Queen will be crowned October 22nd.
Tennis star Rafael Nadal captured his 19th Grand Slam title over the weekend. All right, he won it 3-2 to earn his 4th U.S. Open, 9th major title. He has just one Grand Slam win behind record holder Roger Federer, who has 20.
traffic by the all-new Ram 1500.
Saw a tiny bit of that yesterday, and good stuff there. So congratulations, right? We have a few things that we want to make sure you are well aware of. So let's take you over to Mark Kono, who's in Sky 5 HD. Certainly starting to get busy here, Mark.
Yeah, have a look at this. Pacoima, Arleta, good morning to you. The 5 freeway north and southbound right there at about Osborne, looking up towards, say, Terabella, Van Nuys Boulevard, Paxton, the 118 freeway. That 5 south, Ginger, those are the headlights coming at us. It's a little bit heavy on that side. As you come out of the Newhall Pass and head in towards Sun Valley, stop and go, but generally some slow conditions along that 5 southbound.
Nothing in lanes. Now farther to the north of where you are, 5 northbound side about Templin Highway. That's the stalled big rig, still taking up the 2 right lanes. SIG alert still in effect. Still not too bad in terms of slowing, so we like that. We want to take you to look at that 60, the westbound side of Milliken Avenue. So this is turning into a pretty serious crash because it involves a motorcyclist. The bike apparently caught on fire, and now they're saying carpool left lanes are blocked. You add into the mix, this is normally a real busy spot. You opt for the 10, you get a view of it that looks equally as busy and disturbing, so you may want to stick to the 60 freeway, but we'll watch that drive 60 westbound side of Milliken Avenue with a motorcycle crash that's resulted in a fire. So carpool left lanes are blocked, and you can tell it's already starting to load up for the drive. Again, we'll keep tracking all that for everybody, and I'll send it over to you.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. I'm in for Henry DiCarlo. A live look outside off our Long Beach cam. This camera sits right on top of the Queen Mary, gives us this great shot. We are seeing a little bit of cloud cover out there. Haven't seen that for a little while. That onshore flow is back, and that's going to cool us off here in Southern California. Look at Big Bear. You're sitting at 32 degrees. That's that freezing mark. 55 in Palmdale, 65 Ontario, 67 degrees in Long Beach. Highs this afternoon, they look like this, below the average from the coast into those inland valleys. 84 degrees in Van Nuys, 80 degrees here in Hollywood, 77 Westchester as well as Santa Monica, 79 in Oxnard, 82 degrees in Anaheim, 81 in Yorba Linda, 82 in Santa Ana, 85 degrees Eastville, 86 Riverside, as well as Hemet, 91 Cabazon, and 97 degrees in Palm Springs. Along the coast, you can expect those temperatures to top out in the mid-70s through about Wednesday, Thursday. Then we warm it up into the 80s by Friday and Saturday. Low 70s today for the mountain communities, 30s in those overnight hours. Then we top out at about 66 degrees. Tomorrow, 68 degrees on Wednesday, 72 on your Thursday. High desert communities where it will be a little bit breezy this afternoon. 88 degrees today, 81 on your Tuesday. Tuesday being the coolest day of the next 7. And then we start to heat things up as high pressure builds in by Wednesday, 87. 90s in the forecast Thursday, Friday, triple digits on your Saturday. Back to you.
All right, Liberty, thank you. Still to come, a drunken stumble around town.
A big surprise when residents find several raccoons, but a few too many. Plus, Dana in for Sam. Good morning.
Hi, you guys. Good morning. It's an interesting piece of casting that has a lot of fans scratching their heads and giving mixed reviews. Who will play Margaret Thatcher on The Crown? We'll tell you. I don't think you'll guess. It's all coming up in the Entertainment Report.
All right, you've probably heard the phrase drunk as a skunk. Well, this time apparently it's the raccoons in Canada who like a little swig.
Okay,
as we shall say. They seemingly inebriated animals were spotted stumbling around in Ottawa. Now, some have even passed out on the spot, sleeping off the effects for hours in yards and homes. Experts say the animals probably are not drinking booze. Instead, they're likely getting impaired from eating fermented fruit, you see. Experts say there's an abundance of fruit falling from trees this year.
Nice.
Nice.
I have heard of that before. I was in Arizona a couple weeks ago, and someone told me that the woodpeckers were getting drunk off of like the cactus, the blooming cactus. I don't know. Maybe there's truth to that. All right, I digress. Let's take a look outside. We are seeing some cloud cover out there. Onshore flow is back. Temperatures, they look like this right now. Lots of 60s out there. 67 degrees in the Basin, 67 Fullerton, 65 in Ontario, 60 degrees in Camarillo. Gusty winds in Santa Barbara County. That's where we do have wind advisories posted until 3 a.m. Trough low pressure passing over the west coast. So that trough low pressure is bringing us that onshore flow. Things are going to change though by Thursday as high pressure builds back into the region. That's going to warm us up by Thursday, Friday into your Saturday. 81 degrees today, 79 degrees on Tuesday, 81 on Wednesday, mid 80s on Thursday, 90s in the forecast Friday and Saturday. Inland Empire, 87 degrees today, 83 degrees on Tuesday, 90s by Thursday, triple digits on your Friday. Orange County inland spots topping out at 80 degrees today, upper 70s on Tuesday, 81 Wednesday, and then 90s back in the forecast by Friday into Saturday. San Fernando Valley, 86 degrees today, 80 degrees on Tuesday, 90s Thursday, triple digits by Friday and Saturday. Ginger, over to you.
Traffic by the all-new Ram 1500.
Yeah, and a spot that we know things will start to get a little hot would be the drive along the 60. So 60 westbound side of Milliken, we talked earlier about that serious crash, so we want to make sure that you know about it because we would expect it to be fairly busy in this spot. So they're saying that because of that motorcycle crash that resulted in one of the bikes catching fire, the bike catching fire, we're looking at some fairly extensive delays with the corporal left lanes blocked. I mean, you can tell it's pretty busy here. You have to take the 10 freeway, that's slow as well. And I think actually even a little bit worse than what our real-time traffic maps are showing us. Taking over to look at that drive, if you have plans to be on our Orange County freeways, usually that 405 South loads up, and it's already the case as you leave that 605 split and you continue over to just about HB. It's not that bad. Sometimes it extends all the way in towards the El Toro Y. This morning, not the case. So if you have plans to head to John Wayne Airport, you may be in luck. The 5 freeway looks real tough though. Let me see. Before that 5 split, and then it continues to be slow as you cross over the 22 freeway. We have a Caltrans camera to get you that live look, the drive, the conditions if you have plans here. Both directions of the 10 freeway, so westbound side would be to the right of your screen. And I always call it basically leaving Cal State LA, heading up towards downtown LA, not far from County USC. Everything looks fairly normal actually, and then it starts to bunch up just a little bit, all because of the interchange with the 5, the 10 freeways, and the 101. We'll watch all this for every bit on a Monday morning. We are fairly active, and I'll send it back to you guys.
All right, Ginger, thanks. Coming up, the big winner at this weekend's Venice International Film Festival.
And the actress who's been tapped to play Margaret Thatcher in next season's The Crown. That's coming up.
I'm the same boy I used to be.
Good morning, everyone. Hi, how are you? Interesting news this morning. The Crown has made a casting choice that's leaving fans with mixed emotions. So you probably remember her best in this iconic role.
What I find fantastic is any notion that there are answers beyond the realm of science. The answers are there. You just have to know where to look.
Gillian Anderson is best known as Scully in the sci-fi drama series The X-Files. Now she's going to play 1980s era Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher in the Netflix series The Crown. Anderson said in a tweet, "Thatcher was undoubtedly formidable, but I'm relishing exploring beneath the surface and, dare I say, falling in love with the icon who, whether loved or despised, defined an era." Fans of Anderson are conflicted because they love her, but many do not love Thatcher and her role in history. The 3rd season debuts on Netflix November 17th. A villain origin story has won the top prize at the Venice International Film Festival.
Murray, one small thing.
Yeah.
When you bring me out, can you introduce me as Joker?
Todd Phillips' Joker movie took home the Golden Lion Award. While accepting the award, Phillips thanked the film star Joaquin Phoenix for trusting him with his insane talent. He also thanked Warner Brothers and DC for stepping out of their comfort zone with this film. The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills stars rock the runway at New York Fashion Week. Kyle Richards debuted her new women's clothing brand with Shahida Paredes with a brand new big show. Lisa Rinna, Erica Girardi, Teddy Mellencamp, and Denise Richards also rocked the runway. Richards' daughters and her longtime pal, Faye Resnick, also showed their support by modeling in the show. The women's ready-to-wear brand consists of jumpsuits, rompers, and dresses. Speaking of movies, we were just talking about the Joker. Interestingly enough, the Hustlers is getting amazing reviews.
So that's the J-Lo movie,
That's
right?
the J-Lo movie. And
J-Lo
they're even saying she's getting award buzz.
Really?
I thought it was going to be a fun flick, like a kind of a caper thing. I didn't realize it was going to be that good. It's a real life story about some the strippers that kind of pulled the wool over the eyes of the Wall Street clients that were frequenting their clubs. So it's a real life story.
Okay, so we might need to go see that.
I think
Put
so.
that on the list.
Yeah.
Dana, thank you so much. 5 minutes to the top of the hour.
Just ahead at 7 a.m., 2 overnight shootings in Hacienda Heights leaves 1 person dead, 2 others injured.
Why police believe the shootings could be related.
Also, a teenager's curiosity helps authorities solve a cold case that has been open since the early 1980s. We're going to show you how he did it.
And a record-breaking catch where a father-daughter duo reeled in this 14-foot gator.
Plus, a young college football fan who was bullied at school is now the big man on campus. How one university reacted after a fourth grader was ridiculed for his homemade shirt. Details when the KTLA 5 Morning News comes right back.